Very good afternoon to all of you. So let's begin today's session. We shall take up first topic as Draft Explosives Bill 2024. So this topic is under polity. So basically, there is a difference when we speak of a bill and an act. So until it is passed as an act by both the houses, right? And all the provisions have been given out in detail, we don't have to actually worry about the bill. It is a proposed, a proposal wherein it needs an assent from the members. So meanwhile, why we have to look into certain bills which are in news? Because in the recent past, we have seen that many colonial acts or even acts post-independent also, they have been revised, they have been changed or amended, right? So we have a number of examples. In the last 1 year itself, we have seen amendments that have been made on CRPC or IPC, amendments in the sense of act that has been revised or changed, maybe Wildlife Protection Act or maybe Forest Conservation Act. So there are many acts that is being revised or amended. So one such topic that has been come up recently is regarding the explosives. So what comes to our mind when we speak of explosives? Where is it related to and who uses it exactly? So when we speak of explosives, it can be in industrial activities or maybe cultural related also, or in terms of defense. So government is introducing this because there is one colonial act, that is Explosive Act 1884, which dates back to British era, right? So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವೇನ್ ನೋಡ್ತಿದ್ವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ 1884 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರುವಂತ ಆಕ್ಟ್, which is more apt to those times. Is it relevant today is the question. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಈ ಬಿಲ್ ಅನ್ನ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So it requires assent and all that. Meetings had to be held, but until the act is finalized, we don't have to worry about the provisions. Rather, let's look into the background of this bill altogether. What was the need of revamping? Okay, so the Indian government plans to substitute the Explosive Act of 1884 with the proposed Explosive Bill of 2024. The draft bill has been put forward by the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. So ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಬಿಲ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ನೀವೇನ್ ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ದ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ, ಯಾವ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಇದು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. Okay, so even when it comes to schemes or programs also, we have to look into which department, which ministry. Very very important, so that you'll get an idea. So ee vishayagalu ee ministry kelige barutte, ee vishayagalu ee department kelige barutte. So this Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, ee department kelige baruttidu. So aim to enhance regulatory efficiency and update penalties. So when we look into this particular act of 1884, there were penalties because it was British oriented. So they made sure that there were certain restrictions. There were severe penalties wherein if explosives are handled recklessly or carelessly, because explosives would lead to further disaster. So ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಟರಿ ಎಫಿಷಿಯನ್ಸಿ ಬೇಕು, ಯಾರು ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ರಿವ್ಯಾಂಪಿಂಗ್ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ. ಓಕೆ, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದ ನ್ಯೂಸ್, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್. ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಲುಕ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಪೋಸ್ಡ್ ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಕೀ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್, ದ ಟೇಕ್ ಅವೇ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದಿಸ್ ನ್ಯೂಸ್. ಸೊ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಫೈನ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ವೈಲೇಟಿಂಗ್ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಷನ್ಸ್, ಸ್ಟ್ರೀಮ್ಲೈನ್ ಲೈಸೆನ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೀಜರ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎಫಿಷಿಯನ್ಸಿ. ಸೊ ಒಂದು ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೋಸಿವ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಮತ್ತು ಆರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್ಗೂ ಎರಡಿಗೂ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. ನೀವು ಕೇಳಿರ್ಬೋದು ಆರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ 1959, ರೈಟ್? ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೋಸಿವ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ 1884 and Arms Act of 1959? Both sound similar. These are explosive, these are arms. So basically ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಒಂದು ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಆರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಅಮ್ಯುನಿಷನ್, ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೋಸಿವ್ಸ್ ಅಂತೆಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಏನ್ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಏನು, ಎರಡರ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಏನ್ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಏನು ನಾವು ನೋಡೋಣ. ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಫೋಕಸಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೋಸಿವ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್. explosives ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ the way we regulate, handle, transfer, get license to handle all the explosive materials in different, maybe mining industry, for example mining, industrial activities or defense whatsoever. So explosive materials covered in this proposed bill is, or the act is, gunpowder, nitroglycerin, nitroglycol, dinitrotoluene and picric acid. ಯಾಕೆ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಮೇಬಿ ಸರ್ಟನ್ ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಮೇಬಿ ಇನ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಮೇಬಿ ಇನ್ ದ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನೋ ಅಗತ್ಯ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ. ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೋಸಿವ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಲಾ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೋಸಿವ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತ ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. ಗನ್ ಪೌಡರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ ಕಾಮನ್ explosive, we all know, right? So apart from that, which are the other explosive materials which are covered under the act? That is what we are talking about now. Okay, so union government to designate authority for licensing and regulatory functions. So designate ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಲೈಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಟರಿ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ. Currently petroleum and explosive safety organization operates under DPIIT. So authority ಏನಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ, this is only a quick glance for you. That is, we have something called as explosives act ಅಂತ ಇದೆ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ. ಅದನ್ನ ರಿವ್ಯಾಂಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದಾರೆ, ಅಮೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದಾರೆ, ಹೊಸ ಬಿಲ್ ತರ್ತಾ ಇದಾರೆ. Until and unless the act is being passed, you actually not have to worry about this. But we are looking into this for the sake of it is in news, and we have an historical prospect also under this, and many relevant current conditions we can also relate to. So that's what matter here, rather than the very thing what is in the news. News ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಈ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ನ ಯಾವ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ರಿಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕಿಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟೀಸ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ನ್ಯೂ ಲೆಜಿಸ್ಲೇಷನ್, ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಈ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಪಾಸ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಗ್ರಾಂಟಿಂಗ್, ಸಸ್ಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ or revoking licenses ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ how to handle explosive, who can handle, who can purchase, who can involve in transferring these explosives, ಅದೆಲ್ಲಾನು ಇದ್ರ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. So granting the permission, suspending who are violating the rules and regulations, ಮತ್ತು revoking license or cancelling license or renewal of the licenses, all this will be taken under control. And oversight of manufacturing, possession, use, sale, import and export of explosives. So not only within the domestic level, ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾದ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೋಸಿವ್ಸ್ ನ ನಾವು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಅಂಡ್ how do we manufacture, whether all the safety concerns are looked into, possession, who can possess, how do we use it, ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿಷಯಗಳು ಇನ್ ಜನರಲ್ ಇನ್ ಕಾಮನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನ ಈ ಬಿಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೋಸಿವ್ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ಸ್ ಅದು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೋಸಿವ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಅಂದಾಗ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೋಸಿವ್ಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ. ಲೈಕ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ RDX ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ ದಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೋಸಿವ್, ರೈಟ್? RDX can be called RDX as an explosive. TNA, some other examples you can take down so that you can add to this. RDX, right? TNE. TN is an organic nitrate compound. RDX is an organic compound. Royal demolition explosive anta kariತೀವಿ. RDX is a very common word we use, maybe in our trolling or maybe in a serious condition also. RDX is a very popular term we use when it comes to explosive. The full form of RDX is Royal demolition explosive anta kariತೀವಿ. Okay, Royal demolition explosive. So it is used in military and civilian applications. It is also called as cyclonite anta kariತೀವಿ. RDX na cyclonite anta kariತೀವಿ. For hexogen, these are the other two popular what do you call as explosives we can say. Okay, so speaking of the history, or maybe even you can add TNT also here. TNT, I want you to see the full form of it. Popular one I have told you, TNE. Ammonium nitrate to barutte idra keಳಗೆ, ammonium nitrate. So all these are examples of explosive. Now speaking of dynamite is the most popular one. Speaking of the history of it, or what is this Explosives Act of 1884? What is this first? We will look into it. ಈಗ ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತ current condition in current situation ಏನಿದೆ ಅಂತ ನೋಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. So enacted under the British colonial rule, the Explosive Act of 1884 sought to regulate the use of explosives. Okay, it is very evident it was enacted in British colonial times. Safety regulations under the act encompass a range of explosive materials such as gunpowder, dynamite. ಆವಾಗ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು ಅದ್ರ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೋಸಿವ್ಸ್ ಈ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. But we no longer are limited to or confined to these many explosives, right? There are, we have been moved on. There are many other explosives which has been added, which can be equally disastrous. So that has to be checked upon. That is why there is a need of revamping this or amending this. So the Explosives Act grants authority to the central government to establish rules governing various aspects of explosives. ಏನಿತ್ತು ಮುಂಚೆ ಇವಾಗ ತುಂಬಾ ಏನು ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. Maybe a list of explosives can be added, stringent rules can be brought in, penalties can be added. So ಇಂಥದ್ದು basic changes ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. So these rules cover licensing procedures, fees, conditions, exemptions related to explosive materials, what has been repeated already. The most important point here is additionally, Act allows the central government to prohibit the production, possession, or import of particularly hazardous explosives in the interest of public safety. So, ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು public safety ಡ್ಯಾಮೇಜ್ ಆಗುವಂತ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೋಸಿವ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಪ್ರಾಹಿಬಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ನ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಇಂಪೋರ್ಟ್ ನ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಇದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೋಸಿವ್ ಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಿದ್ದು. ನೌ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಟು ದ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಐ ಆಸ್ಕ್ಡ್ ಯು ಬಿಫೋರ್. Explosives and arms, both are almost similar, we can say. It comes under the common umbrella, we can say. So what is the difference between this Arms Act and Explosive Act of 1884? What is the actual difference between these two? So Arms Act of 1959, Arms Act of 1959 speaks about the possession of arms, weapons, okay? Whereas Explosive Act of ಇದು post independence, not colonial. ಮತ್ತೆ 1884 Act ಏನ್ ಮಾತಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, it speaks of explosive substances or explosives. That is the main difference. ಇದು weapons, ಇದು substances. ಇದು ಎರಡು ಬಂದಾಗ ಈ ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಏನ್ ತರ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಹೊಸ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೋಸಿವ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಹೊಸ ಬಿಲ್ ಬಂದ್ರೆ 2024 Arms Act of 1959 will not be affected in any way. No, because they are total different stream, but come under the common umbrella. For example, Arms Act of 1959 primarily focuses or regulates firearms, ammunition, their possession and all that. On the other hand, 1884 focuses on explosive materials, as I told you. So nothing to do with 1859 as well. That is one has to take into consideration. So who has, or when we speak of India 1959 Arms Act antanu bandaga, there was one colonial act as well. Adukku one history ide. 1959 ge kinta munche, if British, see, one can actually understand very clearly wherein explosives ke one act ide antandre weapons ke act idde irutte alva, to regulate maybe the rebels or the revolutionaries or the freedom struggle and all that they did have. So what was that act before Arms Act? I'm just going beyond Explosive Act and trying to explain. So 1959 kinta munche enittu, Arms Act of 1959 kinta munche enittu. So we had Indian Arms Act of 1834. Okay, so here in this one thing we have to understand. Let us relate it to the current condition now. 1834 ಇಂದ ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತ 1959 ತನಕ, if we speak of arms, who can possess guns, weapons? ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ವೆಪನ್ ನ ನಾವು ಇಟ್ಕೊಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಪೊಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, we have to take license, or we should have a license for all the weapons we have. Guns basically, right? Rifles or guns. So there is one exemption in India wherein without license one community can possess guns. Which is that community in India? Yava community ge ಲೈಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲದೇನೆ ಗನ್ಸ್ ನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಬಹುದು. ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾದ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ 1834 ಇಂದ ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕನು ಸೇಮ್ ಲಾ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ. And can you tell me which community it is? In Karnataka, we have Kodava community. In Coorg district, we have Kodava community, wherein since British era, British times, these people actually can possess guns. And what is the reason behind it? Why are they given this possession of guns without license? Rest all have to apply for license, and provided they give an authentic reason why should they possess weapon, only then the permission will be given. But for this community, there is an exemption. Okay, the thing is, since British time, in order to fight against Tipu Sultan, Kodava community joined along with British. So they helped the British to fight Tipu Sultan. From that time, they have been given what you call as an authority or a permission to have guns, to possess guns without license. Okay, so one might think, okay, Tipu Sultan is gone, British is also gone, why still they have given the same provision? When it comes to this, it goes to cultural aspect. So Kodava tribe, or in different context, if you can say, Kodava community belongs to this particular district in Karnataka. What do you call as, in their different religious, I would say cultural ceremonies or different festivities, gun is a part and parcel of their life. So of course, Coorg is a place which is part of Western Ghats, known for its wildlife and wilderness. Hunting was a common activity of this community in the entire Western Ghats belt. So hunting is banned anyway, hunting is prohibited. So even beyond this, clandestine hunting is there. Clandestine hunting anta andre illegal hunting, that is there not only in Coorg but in rest of some of the wild areas, where remote areas where do not come under the notice of forest department. Still it happens, though there are stringent rules. I would not deny it is not at all there, it's still there. But regardless of hunting, in their festivities, even in the death ceremonies, it's like they have a ritual wherein the Kodava community, if the male child is born, right, they would what do you call as, shoot or use the rifle. They shoot twice to signify, okay, male child. If it is a daughter or a female, it is once. Even in the death also, they would shoot, and they would let know the entire community or the people around, okay, some death has happened. Whether it is male or female will also be known, whether it is shot twice or once. This is still a ritual. And they follow it in Coorg. That is there. And maybe it is reducing. There is one reason for it, because the ammunition. We are talking about arms and ammunition, not the explosive. We are talking about the arms and ammunition. The cartridges they use in the gun. The cartridges which are selectively supplied or manufactured in only some of the units. One such unit we can consider Kirki or Khadki anta one jaga ide Pune alli, okay, in Maharashtra. This is one authorized manufacturing unit of arms and ammunition in India. We have other places or other factories also, and there are privatizing, especially the Adani group has the first recent arms and ammunition factory established last year. That is also there. So they get these supplies from here. And Indian government or the central government have made sure that each Kodava community or a family or a person who has owned this weapon will be having particular quota to buy the cartridges. Namge ishta bandange esto box galu ನಾವು ತಗೊಳಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. So it is like there is a quota for everybody, so that this is the number of cartridges they can buy. Adide ಏನಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, though it is under the quota, I mean how much they can buy, now the supply has become reduced. There is huge demand for this, supply is less, and the cartridges are sold in black market, as a black market also. There was a time, maybe in my great grandfathers, even my father's time also, they would buy this commodity, like cartridges were bought like a commodity in some Janata mandi or market, in a common place where they can go and buy it off. But today, and whenever it is like supply, the stock has been there, there used to be a long queue. in front of these shops to purchase this. So because as I told you, clandestine hunting is there. Apart from that, we have they use it in the rituals and even for the defense, and moreover license is not required, especially for the Kodava community. Not everybody in the Kurg, everybody in Kurg, but long back they used to have it anyway. Okay, so this is still there, one has to notice. So adu yen barutte, yadru kelige barutte, Arms Act of 1959. So they have been exempted from Arms Act of 1959. Even before this 1959 yen colonial rule ittu, Indian Arms Act adrindanu exempted agidare Kodava community. So still now there are no changes as much because it is part of their tradition, so it is left alone. And this is what we you have. This is what we have when it comes to Arms Act of 1959. Mattundu relevance Arms Act of 1959 alli antandre, we can also relate it to Wildlife Protection Act. So the recent amendment wherein regarding Wildlife Protection Act has been amended. Adralli Arms Act of 1959 mention ide enantandre, so that the people who are in and around or 10 kilometers in and around wildlife sanctuary, any wildlife sanctuary, cannot no longer possess any arms, basically guns, right? Weapons they should not possess. If at all they are having it, they should inform the chief wildlife warden or the forest department. If at all they are staying nearby in and around wildlife sanctuary, inform ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಮತ್ತು ಈ ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಇನ್ನು ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ರಿವ್ಯೂವಲ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಲೈಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ರಿನಿವಲ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಲೈಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯಾರೆಲ್ಲ ವೈಲ್ಡ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಸ್ಯಾಂಚುರಿ ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ರಿನಿವಲ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ವೈಲ್ಡ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಏನು just a minute, I have one technical problem. Okay, there was a small glitch. So hope you got the point. So alli enagutte, Wildlife Protection Act allu ನಾವು Arms Act na mention ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. So this is a basic awareness one should have, that is there, and how we relate to various other topics. Any doubts you are having, you can ask. I hope you got it. Did you understand? Please try to respond also, so that I'll get to know what you're understanding here. Okay, so this is Explosive Act of 1884 and yet to be amended. So bill is passed as of now. Apart from that, polity topics in the bandaga is sadyadalli, there are many things regarding politics, especially, I mean, what do you call as it may be Karnataka politics that is happening, what we have certain terminologies. We have election that is coming by, and ECI, and a lot of things we are overwhelmed by it. I'm sure that you might have come across in various newspapers and media and all that. So adana ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತರ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ maybe there are many topics where we have overlooked, where we have not taken into consideration. That is why I have spoke about this exclusively. Okay, so yes, so this is about the topic in polity. So we will move on to history, that is Hoysala's trade legacy. So recently it was in the news wherein an inscription inscriptions in a temple submerged by Bhavani Sagar Dam in Erode reveal a trade route, or Bhavani, however it is pronounced. It is one of the rivers, river Bhavani. Hope I'm pronouncing it right, Bhavani, right? Which flows in Karnataka as well. So illi ಒಂದು ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಯಾವುದೊಂದು ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ ಸಬ್ಮರ್ಜ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ, and it is related to a temple. There are so many things to be connecting here, and the main thing from the historical perspective, we can connect it to Hoysala dynasty, right? So let's look into the news. Evidence from inscriptions at the Sri Madhava Perumal temple submerged in Bhavani Sagar Dam's water suggests the existence of a trade route over 1000 years old. So ಟ್ರೇಡ್ ರೂಟ್ಸ್ ಇತ್ತು ಮುಂಚೆ ಈ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ, ಇಲ್ಲೇನ್ ಸಬ್ಮರ್ಜ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಮುಂಚೆ, ಇವಾಗ ಏನ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ, ಅಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಟ್ರೇಡ್ ರೂಟ್ಸ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಡಿಸ್ಕವರಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ರೂಟ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ದ ಕೊಂಗು ರೀಜನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ನ್ ತಮಿಳ್ನಾಡು ವಿತ್ ಸದರ್ನ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಅಂಡ್ ಕೇರಳ. ಸೊ ಈ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಸ್ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಇರುವಂತದ್ದು ಒಂದು ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಇತ್ತು ಈ ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿರುವಂತ ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ವಿಚ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ ವಿಚ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಲೈನ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಟಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಹೊಯ್ಸಳಸ್. ಸೊ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಸ್ಟಾಟಿಕ್ ಪರ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ವಿ ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಲರ್ನ್ ಆರ್ ವಿ ಗೋ ಅಂಡ್ ರಿವೈಸ್ ಹೊಯ್ಸಳ ಡೈನಾಸ್ಟಿ. ಹೊಯ್ಸಳ ಅಂತ ಬಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ವೇರ್ ಡು ವಿ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಟು ಇನ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ? ಹೊಯ್ಸಳಾಸ್ ಯಾವ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ? ತಕ್ಷಣ ಹೊಯ್ಸಳ ಅಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಏನ್ ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ? Yes. Okay. Try to architecture, good Hoysala architecture, especially any particular place or a temple. We connect it to very good Belur Halebedu, alba? Yes. So let's look into it. This route connected to the Kongu region. Kongu region, we are talking about Tamil Nadu's. The temple submersion in the dam's water spread area highlights the historical significance of the trade route, offering insights into ancient commercial connections between regions. ಈ region ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ಸದರ್ನ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ, ಕೇರಳ ಮತ್ತು ತಮಿಳುನಾಡು ಈ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಭವಾನಿ ರಿವರ್ ಮತ್ತು ರಿವರ್ ಮೋಯಾರ್ ಏನ್ ರೀಚ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಫ್ಲೋ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ರೇಡ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂತ ಈ ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾವ ಟೆಂಪಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ? ಶ್ರೀ ಮಾಧವ ಪೆರುಮಾಳ್ ಟೆಂಪಲ್. ಸೊ ಇಷ್ಟು ನ್ಯೂಸ್, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ದ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್. ಸೊ we will see the key takeaways from this, wherein we can get some facts from the article. So this temple, when we talking about Madhava Perumal temple dedicated to the Hindu deity Vishnu as Madhava Perumal, the temple is situated in Mylapore, Chennai, Tamil Nadu. Perumal temple anta andaga we connect this to a particular sect, that is Alvar anta, Vishnu Vaishnavite anta enanta karitivi. So it is related to them. Mylapore historically ruled by Hoysala dynasty under King Veeraballala III. So this is what we have to look into. The person's name that has been mentioned in the article, King Veeraballala III, saw the construction of Dandanayaka fort 680 years ago, housing the temple in the Dravidian architecture. So obviously South Indian temples, especially Hoysala architecture anta bandaga, it has its more relevance to Dravidian architecture. And Hoysala architecture tumba very important topic for whichever exams you write, UPSC or KPSC. So later the region came under the Vijayanagara Empire. We are talking about the Hoysala dynasty, or we can say that Vijayanagara Empire or Vijayanagara rulers were the successors of Hoysala dynasty anta helbodu. And the reign of Tipu Sultan, witnessing significant events like Battle of Satyamangalam during the Third Anglo-Mysore War. So ಈ ರೀಜನ್ ಒಂದು ಜಾಗದಿಂದ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರು ಜಾಗ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಡೈನಾಸ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಡೈನಾಸ್ಟಿ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ one of the significant events such as Battle of Satyamangalam of 1790 during the Third Anglo-Mysore War. So battle and war, the difference between these two is battle is in the small scale, war is in the large scale. So each even chikka battle 1790 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಯ್ತು, this is a part of the Third Anglo-Mysore War. Parallelly it was happening. That's the thing we are talking about. So believed to be the birthplace of Peyalwar, one of the 12 Alvar saints. ಈ ಜಾಗನ ಮೈಲಾಪುರ್, ಈ ಜಾಗನ Alvar saints, as I've told you already, Vaishnavites, right? What do you call as devotees of Lord Vishnu. The temple resurfaced as the water level in the Bhavani Sagar dam dipped. There was a dam and the water level reduced and the temple resurfaced. There was a temple inside water, okay, inside the dam. So revealing its submerged structure. Later on, because of the studies and all that, inscriptions unveiled the existence of what do you call as Thuravalur village and its role as a key trading hub, facilitating trade routes across river Bhavani and river Moyar to Wayanad in Kerala and various parts of Karnataka. So with the construction of Bhavani Sagar Dam in 1948, nearby residents were relocated. Temple idols were shifted to new locations in 1953. ಈ ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಭವಾನಿ ರಿವರ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹರಿತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಈ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಡ್ಯಾಮ್ ಕಟ್ಟಿದಾಗ ಎಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತ ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ನ ರಿಲೊಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈಗ ನೀರ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆದ್ರಿಂದ, ಎಷ್ಟೋ ವರ್ಷದ ತನಕ ನೀರ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗಿದ್ರಿಂದ ಈ ಆರ್ಕಿಟೆಕ್ಚರ್ ನ ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತ ಇನ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಟ್ರೇಡ್ ರೂಟ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಈ ಮೂರು ಜಾಗಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, ಕೇರಳ, ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ, ತಮಿಳುನಾಡು ಅಂತ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕವರ್ಡ್. So we connected to Hoysala dynasty because they were the people who ruled by this time, this part of period, historical timeline. One more thing, geographical, if you want to connect, Bhavani Sagar athwa river Bhavani flows through a national park, Silent Valley National Park anta, you can make a note of it. Silent Valley National Park, which is part of Nilgiris, Western Ghats. Bhavani River flows through this. So as this is Nilgiris, where is the tri-junction area of these three states, there is a possibility of the trade route where the inscription says so. So this is about the Madhava Perumal temple and the other aspects. So regarding Hoysalas, when we talk about some key points, ಇದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ನೀವು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲೇ ಕಲ್ತ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀರಾ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಫಾರ್ ಅ ರಿವಿಷನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಹೊಯ್ಸಳ ಎಂಪೈರ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ ದ ಟೈಮ್ ಲೈನ್ if I'm correct, if I'm not wrong, 1026 to 1343 common era ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕೊಂಬೋದು. So go to your NCRT and get the correct timeline. Okay, this is I'm believing that this is right, or you can correct me also here. So the Hoysala origins anta bandaga, they were the feudatories of the Chalukyas of Kalyana. Very, very important. So we can say they are not the successors, they were under the Chalukyas of Kalyana, with their capital in Halebid from 1060. Capital, they had this capital in 1060 AD, but their actual reign as feudatories began in 1026 itself. So you can see this map also, the Hoysala Empire timeline, where you can see, or the area where they have occupied, where it comprises of Karnataka, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu. That is what we are talking about, right? Yes. So Belur is its or old name of Halebid, if I'm not wrong, it is Dwara Samudra anta kariತೀವಿ ಅಲ್ವಾ. So some of the notable rulers of Hoysalas were Vishnuvardhana, Veeraballala II, Veeraballala III, with Vishnuvardhana regarded as their greatest king. So he's the main popular ruler of Hoysala dynasty. There are many others also, as I told you. History classes ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಇನ್ ಬ್ರೀಫ್ ಕಲಿತೀರಾ, ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರದು ಅಚೀವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ಕಲಿಯ ತನಕ ಇಷ್ಟು ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Territory ruled over Karnataka and Tamil Nadu in the Kaveri River Valley. Basically, Kaveri River was the main area from the 11th to 14th century. So succession, they were succeeded by Vijayanagar dynasty, as I've already mentioned. The religious patronage, what they had, supported Hinduism, Jainism, and Buddhism, with King Vishnuvardhana converting to Vaishnavism under Saint Ramanuja. So Ramanujacharya Ramanuja had a very important influence or a clout on Hoysalas, we can say. So that made them more to be Vaishnavites. Okay. So temple architecture, as some of you have mentioned, Hoysala temples, including Belur's Chennakeshwara, Halebid's Hoysaleshwara, right? Somanathpur. ಈ ಇಮೇಜ್ ನೋಡಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಬೇಲೂರು ಹಳೆಬೀಡ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಎಸ್, ಹೊಯ್ಸಳೇಶ್ವರ and Somnathpur's Keshava are UNESCO World Heritage Sites, showcasing the unique Vesara style, blending Bhumija, Nagara, and Dravida. So Vesara style of architecture is what we see in Hoysala temple. Vesara is the combination, they say, combination of Nagara and Dravida, north and south. So Vesara style, they have a very unique architecture. Nowhere we can see, only in this Hoysala architecture, that is very unique and intricate designs we can see. So characterized by intricate carvings in soapstone, multiple shrines around a central hall, and star-shaped layouts. Very, very briefly, to have a glance, I have pointed out here, but I want you to go in depth and understand the entire Hoysala dynasty and their art and architecture, especially the art and architecture and the prominent rulers. Okay. By the time you have class, you will be having this topic dealt with. If you read well, you will understand it better. And anyway, we have this in news now. There is a possibility of asking questions on this. Okay, even in mains also, you can expect regarding art and architecture, very important area. So this is about the Hoysalas, or from the history part, we have this. Now moving on, land subsidence. Andre, next topic, geography, land subsidence. Just give me a minute. So next topic is land subsidence. Land subsidence, this topic we have seen from past 1 year, 2 years. When it comes to, especially you might have heard about Joshi Mud sinking. ಈ ಹೆಸರು ನೀವು ಕೇಳಿರ್ಬೋದು ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಇಯರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ Uttarakhand, a small town in Uttarakhand, wherein it was sinking. It was, what do you call us, a huge devastation or disaster that was happening there. So what is the difference between land subsidence and landslides? Landslides we already know. I mean, we have heard of it. Are they same, or is there a difference, or the causes are different? That is what we have to look into. So chances are there it can be asked as a part of, or I think it's been already asked, I guess, in disaster management ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು, ಅಥವಾ ನಾವು geography topic ಆಗಿದ್ದು ತಗೊಬಹುದು, why this happens. Okay, so we are talking about the Chenab Valley of Jammu and Kashmir here. Recently what happened was land subsidence took place, and let's see what is land subsidence and some of the key facts from the news first. So in recent times, reports have resurfaced regarding land subsidence in various areas of Chenab Valley, ee jagagalali Ramban, Kishtwar, Doda districts, wherein it led to destruction of numerous houses. So while landslides were previously prevalent, one can ask, what is so special? Why should we focus on? Because wherever there are heavy rains, I mean, heavy rain occurs, landslides are common, especially in the mountainous areas alva. ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು hill stations ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಮಳೆ ಆದಾಗ landslides ತುಂಬಾ ಕಾಮನ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. So ಈ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ landslides were common during rainfall and snowfall. It is not new, but there has been a notable increase in land subsidence, which is totally different than landslides. So the difference, the name itself suggests. Landslides ಅಂದ್ರೆ slide over ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Subsidence ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? It creates a hollow in the given region, wherein it is like it is submerging, it is getting inside. So it's not sliding over or something like that. It just kusiyodu anta heltaralla aa reeti agutte. Okay, so improper wastewater disposal worsens the problem as wastewater accumulates in mountainous areas, exacerbating or increasing land subsidence, especially during rainfall. ಈಗ ಈ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿರುವಂತ ಡಿಸಾಸ್ಟರ್ ಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, improper wastewater disposal where it has accumulated in the mountainous areas. We are talking about the Himalayan region. We know that it is still young fold mountain. You'll be learning in geography. Himalayan region is a young fold mountain, wherein it has its own sensitivities and vulnerabilities, wherein it is not as old as or strong as the Deccan Plateau, where we can say it is always prone to disasters or landslides and avalanche, all these things. So illenagide excess accumulation of water adaga bhumiyolge enagutte, the soil become porous, the soil become very loose. Landslide allu same problem. Landslide allu enagutte, we will see that difference. Land subsidence allu enagutte antandre, basically the soil is very loosened up. When the soil is loosened up, it can no longer hold anything. Such disasters happen. Here in this case, in this disaster, it is the improper or unplanned construction and wastewater seepage. What is the meaning of seepage here? Seepage andre enu? Seepage means percolation, or the water getting inside the ground, inside earth. That is seepage, excess water. So it loosen up the what do you call as the soil itself. So idu key takeaways. Let's understand what is land subsidence. You can see two pictures here on the screen, wherein one is landslide, the other one is land subsidence. Okay, so this is landslide, where you can see the sliding of the land. It is sliding over. This is land subsidence. The land is not sliding over anywhere. It is there itself. It gets inside the earth. It goes even beyond a certain depth. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು land subsidence ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಎರಡು disasters, equal disasters. Causes can be same, reasons can also be common, but the consequences can be different. Constructions, see, one will swipe away the entire land and ends up somewhere. The other one is it creates a hollow in the ground and accumulates or absorbs everything, whatever is on the topsoil. That is what it happens. So it creates a big hole, a sink anta karibodu. A big sink will be created. So that is the difference, and both are equal and common disaster that is happening in the most of the hilly areas today. So you can see land subsidence involve the sinking of the ground due to movement of underground materials. When the underground materials become loosened up, it leads to land subsidence. As I've given you an example already, Joshimath last year Uttarakhand alli Joshimath agiruvanta ಒಂದು disaster ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು. That is a prominent one what we have seen, but over a period of time we have seen in multiple places land subsidence are happening, especially in the Himalayan region, Uttarakhand, Himachal Pradesh, Sikkim, or Jammu and Kashmir, etc. Today we are talking about Jammu and Kashmir. So what are the causes? The causes are especially human activities, water extraction, excess water extraction, oil, natural resources removal, mining, and sometimes earthquakes, soil erosion, compaction. Compaction means getting together. Okay, opposite of loosening up. So all this will lead to land subsidence. So the scale or the intensity of the disaster would be from the small localized areas to extensive regions such as entire states or provinces. So entire jagane full complete agi subside agbodu athava there are some local places or small places that can lead to it. We cannot say that. I mean, what is the scale? It is highly uncertain to predict. So when it comes to this, when such disasters happen, first thing is main cause ಏನು ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ವಾಟರ್ ಟ್ರೀಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಜೋಶಿಮಠ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಉತ್ತರಾಖಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೈಡ್ರೋ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್. That was the main reason, because when such things happen, institutions or organizations such as NGT can intervene, court can intervene, especially NGT can seek a report from the state government why this happened, what is the reason for this disaster, or it can even give a report to the government saying that this is the reason, and immediate actions will be taken upon that. And whoever responsible for that, or if there are illegal constructions, if there are improper wastewater treatment, all this will come under NGT anta bandaga. I think in the last class also I told you, environment protection, water pollution, air pollution, idella NGT kelige barutte. NGT can actually issue notice, serve a notice to the state government wherein they did not treat wastewater properly, improper discharge of the wastewater treatment. So this happened, it can slap crores of fine, or it can ask a report from the state government. So there is an intervention of NGT here also. Okay, so there are many things to be connected with. Here, the bottom line here is, what is land subsidence? It is totally different from landslide. The way it occurs, the intensity and the scale, that is there. Okay, and it can be asked in disaster management, and you should be knowing the place also. That we will have a quick point on Chenab Valley's land subsidence. Illi yakaitu anta particular reason. Yak illa agide ಈಗ ಸದ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಅಂದಾಗ geological factors. So in Chenab Valley, soft Chenab anta andaga we are talking about the river itself, alva, tributary of Indus river itself. Soft sedimentary deposits and alluvial soils prone to compaction contribute to land subsidence. Yavattuno anthropological factors e agiralla. Geologically speaking, this valley is prone to or vulnerable to land subsidence. That is there. But human beings aggravate the condition. Unplanned constructions, urbanization and haphazard construction in hilly regions exert pressure on the land, leading to subsidence. This is not only in Chenab Valley, wherever hill station alli unplanned constructions, resorts, hotels ella ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ maybe land subsidence ಆಗದೆ ಇರಬಹುದು, landslides ಆಗಿದೆ. Okay, so hydroelectric projects is an example. Again, we have example of Joshimath here I have given here. And poor drainage system, inadequate drainage worsens subsidence through water logging, means blocking or holding too much of water. Elevated groundwater levels, too much of water inside the groundwater, it increases. And soil erosion also, continuous soil erosion because of heavy rainfall. All this will lead to, and if there is no enough proper drainage system for the water to flow off, land subsidence can occur, or it has occurred here in Chenab. Geological vulnerability. So rocks are not held together. They are scattered rocks in Himalayan region. Weathered gneissic rocks. Weathered means broken rocks. And low bearing capacity, increasing susceptibility to subsidence, especially during monsoon. ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕಲ್ಲು ಬಂಡೆ ಇದ್ರೆ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಇದ್ರೆ it's very difficult for the water to get inside. So percolation is quite less possible. No, when there is all the rocks are scattered, there is enough soil or enough space for the water to get in. The soil becomes loosened up and land subsidence can occur. Okay, keep this in mind. Be mindful of this topic when it comes to disaster management or geography. Clear with this? So this is about land subsidence. Now we move on to economics or governance. Governance topic. We'll speak about governance. E-rupee anta karibodu topic na athwa digital currency of India. This is not a very new topic as such. Okay, digital currency ಅನ್ನೋದು ಹೊಸ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಆದ್ರೆ ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಏನಿದೆ ಒಂದು ರಿಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. ನಾವು ಮಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಶಕ್ತಿಕಾಂತ ದಾಸ್, who is the governor of RBI, he has made a statement that permanent deletion of transactions can help make e-rupee anonymous. Transactions ಆದಾಗ ಅದನ್ನ ಪರ್ಮನೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಡಿಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಅದನ್ನ e-rupee transaction ಏನಾಗಿದೆ ಅದು ಅನಾನಿಮಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So first thing is, this is just a statement that has been given. We have to understand what is this e-rupee exactly. ಏನಿದು central bank digital currency? Is it legal, illegal? Does it have threats, risks? All this come into mind, right? Because electronic anta ene anta karadrunu, what is the risk factor? We look into what is the risk factor. So ಈಗ ಸದ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, the governor of RBI has highlighted advancements in India's central bank digital currency, CBDC, also referred to as e-rupee. Both are same. Central bank digital currency, CBDC or e-rupee, both are same. Innovative features. ಹೊಸದಾಗಿ ಏನ್ ತಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಹೊಸ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಏನು? Because pilot basis ಅಲ್ಲಿ first time introduction ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. It is not so popular yet, but they are trying out bringing it up, which is equal to paper currency. Electronic rupee means the paper currency what we use, but it is electronically utilized, transacted. So what are the innovative features as of now? Emphasis on the development of innovative features for the CBD, such as permanent transaction deletion. E-rupee use ಮಾಡುವವರು transaction ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ permanent ಆಗಿ delete ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, so that it is anonymous. I don't know how it is beneficial in the long run. Not now I'm speaking about, in the long run. So ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು transaction ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ it will not be like a trace on online, but you can delete it. So you can have this privacy is what the RBI says. Okay. So enhancing user anonymity, highlighted the potential of features like permanent transaction deletion to enhance user anonymity and privacy. So who sends whom, yarinda ಎಷ್ಟು ದುಡ್ಡು ಹೋಗಿದೆ ಅಥವಾ ನಾವ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಪೇ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರತಿ ಕಡೆನೂ ಸೇವ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. We can simply delete it. ಇದು ಒಂದು ಅಡ್ವಾನ್ಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ತಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ RBI has made a statement. This is the recent news. Now, speaking of CBDC, or what is it exactly, some of the key points we have to know. Andre ಏನು ಅಂತ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕಲ್ವಾ? So the idea of CBDC is, these are the digital forms of legal tender issued by central banks. Remember, CBDC legally issued. It is not some private organization involved in here. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಕಂಟ್ರಿದು ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಕಂಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಕರೆನ್ಸಿ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, that will be issued by central bank of that country. Okay, so ಚೈನಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಚೈನಾ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಯೂರೋ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಡಾಲರ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, that will be issued by the what do you call, the government itself. That is the most important point. It is not illegal, and it is legal tender issued by the central banks. Unlike private cryptocurrencies, and especially bitcoins, cryptocurrency ಏನಂತ ಅಂತೀವಿ, cryptocurrency na ಅಥವಾ bitcoins na ಯಾವುದೇ central bank back ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ, means they do not support. But CBDCs are backed by central banks, ensuring stability and trust. Bitcoins are not supported by RBI. Cryptocurrencies are not supported by RBI. But this is unlike that, it is totally supported or backed by the RBI or the central banks. So they can be exchanged one-to-one with fiat currency. The next term comes in here is fiat currency. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ನೀವು basic terminologies economics ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ economic topic ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲ್ತ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀರಾ. Fiat currency ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Fiat currency means the currency what we use in our daily life, the paper money, the paper what we use, right? So ಅದರದ್ದು definition ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ, fiat currency refers to a national currency. National currency, we are talking about what do you call as Japanese yen, Europe's euro, America's dollar, Indian rupee. So ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು fiat currency ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, which is issued by the national level or by the government itself. but it is not tied to commodities like gold or silver. ಇದರ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನು? Fiat currency ಅಂದ್ರೆ paper currency issued by the national, the central bank itself, but it is not tied to commodities like gold or silver. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವ್ ಏನು ಆ ಕರೆನ್ಸಿನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಆ ವಸ್ತುಗೆ, ಆ ಥಿಂಗಿಗೆ, that very note do not have any value. See, I'm talking about it is merely a paper. It is because it is a legal tender issued by the government, it has some value. It is just a mere paper when we compare to commodities like gold and silver. So now we can notes na yen use currency notes. It is not made up of gold or silver, right? It is just a paper, right? It is just paper. So intrinsic value ಏನು ಇಲ್ಲ, ಆ ವಸ್ತುವಿಗೆ intrinsic value ಏನು ಇರಲ್ಲ, but still it is issued by the national level by the government itself. That currency is called as fiat currency. That means backed by the government, but do not have any value like gold or silver. Hope you're getting the point. We will see the example also. ಯಾಕೆಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಯಾಕೆ ಈ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ನಾವು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಿದೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಿ ದ ಥರ್ಡ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ವೆರಿನ್ ದೇ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಚೇಂಜ್ 1-to-1 ವಿತ್ ಫಿಯಟ್ ಕರೆನ್ಸಿ. ಈಗ ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ಈ ರೂಪಿ ಇದೆ, I have electronically, I have 500 rupees. Okay, someone have 500 rupees currency note. I can transfer this, I can give this to this person and take that note. So it is equated, the same value it has. Idu virtual agirutte, idu electronical agirutte, idu physical, tangible agirutte. That is the difference. So we are talking about this fiat currency versus e-currency. Okay, so CBDCs can be transacted using blockchain backed wallets ನಾವೇನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತ electronic wallets ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. They differ from decentralized virtual currencies and crypto assets as they are issued by the state and hold legal tender status. So they are totally different. As I told you, cryptocurrency ಗಿಂತ different ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. The main objective is to mitigate the risk and trim costs in handling physical currency. So one might question, ಯಾಕೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಈ ರೂಪಿ ಬೇಕು, electronic ರೂಪಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಬೇಕು? What is the need? The need is mitigate the risk. Risk of what? Usage of the physical currency, the note or the coin. Cost of phasing out soiled notes. ಈಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ soiled notes ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ torn notes, damaged notes, or maybe written, some people write on the notes, currency notes, or maybe it is basically damaged where you cannot use it for any transaction. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಇವಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತು ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ. They use it for, banks will take this old torn notes and coins which are not in use, and again ಅದನ್ನ ತಗೊಂಡು ಅದನ್ನ ಪುನಃ ಫೇಸ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತದ್ದು ಅಥವಾ ಅದನ್ನ ಪುನಃ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತದ್ದು, ಇನ್ಶೂರೆನ್ಸ್, ಲಾಜಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ನ ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ರೂಪಿನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್. Okay, maybe in future we would switch to this only totally. Already we are using everything online, right? We are transacting the money, but maybe the digital form, literally in the place of fiat currency, will be very soon in India. And when we speak of this, there are many countries, at least some 10 countries that have issued, that have launched CBDC. The first one being Bahamas, Central American country, the first economy to launch the nationwide CBDC, namely sand dollar anta kardu in 2020 ಅದನ್ನ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈಗ ನ್ಯೂಜಿಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್, ಚೈನಾ, ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಆಸ್ಟ್ರೇಲಿಯಾ, some places they have introduced this currency, e-currency, ಅಥವಾ their own currency, we can say their country currency. So we call it as e-rupee. They could call in their own names. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನ sand dollar ಅಂತ ಕರೆದೆ Bahamas ಅಲ್ಲಿ. This is one example. Okay, our first economy to launch. So these are the points, basic points. In future also we might see more news on this CBDC. I believe that, hope you got an idea about what is CBDC, and we will see what is the difference or what is the meaning of fiat currency andre ಏನಂತ. ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ fiat money ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, the intrinsic value ಏನು ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. Fiat money means money that the government guarantees as legal tender. Fiat money derives its value from the government regulation or law. ಒಂದು ನೋಟ್ ನ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, say for example we have these duplicate notes, right? So a currency note has a value, or a coin or a note has a value. It is issued by the RBI. ನಾನೇ ಸ್ವಂತ ಪ್ರಿಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಫೇಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಆ ಪೇಪರ್ ಕರೆನ್ಸಿಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಇರುತ್ತಾ? ಇಲ್ಲ. ಫಿಯಟ್ ಮನಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ that note, currency note or a coin that is issued as a legal tender and it do not have any intrinsic value anta andaga, see, what is printed on is worthless. Whatever you print on a note, it is worthless unless it is issued by the government. Fiat money, commodity money anta karadaga, the money is made of commodities such as gold, Austrian gold corona andre, the currency itself, the transaction is itself is happening with the commodity of gold and silver. Gone are the days. Maybe in historically we have learned, right? Avagela enittu, copper coins ittu, gold coins ittu, silver coins ittu. The money itself has the value. Again, commodity adanne ನಾವು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ. ಸೊ ಈಗ ಅದರ ಬದಲಾಗಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಆದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಲೀಗಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಫಿಯಟ್ ಮನಿ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Keep this in mind. Okay, this particular technical term what we use in economics or Indian economy or economics. Moving on to one more term, drip pricing anta. Last time if you have attended or we have discussed about shrinkflation anta discuss madidvi. Okay, so adhe riti certain terminologies will be used what we undergo in our daily life. Now drip pricing anta on news allittu. So center issues warning against dip pricing, and what is it exactly? So here government alerts consumers about drip pricing to prevent surprise charges. All are victims to it. All of you are, maybe you have experienced it or maybe you may not know until now. So let's learn about it for our awareness, and also from the exam perspective you should be knowing the meaning of it. Okay, so consumers advised to seek assistance if encountering hidden fees beyond product MRP, maximum retail price. So this strategy is used to attract customers with a seemingly lower price at the outset. I'll give you a basic example. So you want to buy a product, right? So two companies are selling it and both are equally good. Let's say quality is good. And what's the first thing we see? If the quality is good, the first thing we see is price. Price is the first thing any consumer would see. Now, both the companies are offering a product, maybe a similar quality, color or whatsoever. And we focus more on the lesser, low value product. And we have made a decision, okay, we have gone for buying itself and we have bought already. ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಷ್ಟು ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಬಿಲ್ ಇತ್ತು, ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ಸೇರಿಸಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಈಕ್ವೇಟೆಡ್ ಟು ದ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ವಿ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಥಾಟ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಕಂಪೇರಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಬಿ ಜೊತೆ. ಏನು ಈಗ ಎ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀನೋ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಬಿ ಜೊತೆ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಈಗ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಬಂತು, ಅದ್ರ ಬದಲು ಅದನ್ನೇ ತಗೋಬಹುದಾಗಿತ್ತು ನಾವು, ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ ಅದು ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, it attracts. Drip pricing is a strategy, marketing strategy. It attracts consumers because of its low pricing. And when it builds, actually when it is built, you can see extra charges are added and you can no longer back off from the purchase. So ee reetiyadanta strategy na ನಾವು drip pricing anta kare. There is an example here. So quantity 4,700, one shoes, handling charges, shipping charges, donation for calls. You have never asked, you're never interested in donation, but it is added. Platform price where you brought it, adu ಒಂದು ಆಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ತೋರಿಸಿರಲ್ಲ, ಮೇನ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರಿಸಿರಲ್ಲ, ಬರೀ ಶೂಸ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ತೋರಿಸಿದ್ರು. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಆಗಿ 4,700 ಇತ್ತು, 5,130 ಬಂತು. This we usually see this kind of strategy in tickets. If you have booked tickets, train tickets, flight tickets, bus tickets, and some other applications, you can see this drip pricing. Hope you have experienced this, right? This concept is called as drip pricing. Let's know more idea about it. Let's have more idea about it. So drip pricing is a strategy where only a portion of an item's cost is initially displayed, with the full amount revealed later during the purchase process. As I've already mentioned, the initial price shown to the consumers is often lower than the total cost, excluding essential fees like local taxes, booking charges, necessary add-ons ella ಮಾಡಿ. ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸಲ add-ons ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀರ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತೇ ಇರಲ್ಲ. Then you'll realize, okay, you have never added it, but still, I mean, you never wanted it, but you still have bought it. And that is why it has cost you more, especially food order ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ. Hello, when you order on Swiggy or Zomato or whatsoever, you will never know. You somehow, without your knowledge, or maybe you're in a hurry, you might have added. You have never seen what is being added. Now it is like tipped to the delivery person, or maybe even transportation also, right? Likewise, it will be added. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಡ್ರಿಪ್ ಪ್ರೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. As the purchase process continues, additional fees are incrementally disclosed or drip to the consumer, which can lead to a higher total cost than initially presented. This same example, as I've told you. So companies prefer to present a lower initial price and later disclose mandatory fees to avoid alarming customers with unexpectedly high prices. Nobody wants to go for high prices, but first to attract ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡೋದು, ಆಮೇಲೆ real price ಹಾಕೋದು. Then you have no other go most of the times. Drip pricing complicates comparison shopping and disadvantages sellers who provides more transparent pricing structures. The company A ಮತ್ತು company B. Company A is actually doing this, taking up this drip pricing. Company B is showing the actual cost. Looking at the price, you will be saying, no, this is better because same thing, same product. Why should we pay for this? But ultimately, it will be extra here. So this will actually affect the business of company B by using this strategy. So government, what it has done, ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತ drip pricing ಎಲ್ಲೇ ಕಂಡು ಬಂದಲ್ಲಿ, so we have this WhatsApp ಅಥವಾ assistance reach out to this particular number or WhatsApp, wherein if they need help, ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಕಂಪನಿಯಿಂದ ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತ ಒಂದು ಫ್ರಾಡ್ ಅಥವಾ fraudulent activity ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ, drip pricing ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ, one can actually complain. As a consumer, we can actually complain to Department of Consumer Affairs. Okay, this one should be knowing for your awareness. And these are the techniques where we can see airline fees, hotel resort fees. It shows like this hotel, I mean very nice hotel resort, wherein very low prices, these rooms cost very low prices. Adad nantra nimge gottagutte ಏನೆಲ್ಲ add ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ. By the end of the time, you'll be like added some or the other. Maybe in hotels also what happens is water bottle charges. You have never bought any water bottle, but it will be added. Ticket fees, healthcare fees, e-commerce fees when we buy online. So all these are the examples. Okay. Now we move on to the next one, that is environment. We will talk about constructed wetlands. Okay. So wetland is a very important topic. As I've already told you, it is in mains and prelims. Eradalallu esto varshagalinda wetland is a very important area when it comes to UPSC. So we'll learn better in the static environment class. But here we are talking about constructed wetlands andre enu. Okay, constructed wetlands. So this article was on down to earth. We can say wetlands itself are a solution for most of the problems in the ecosystem. And today we are talking about constructed and how it is different from the artificial or the natural wetlands, and how does it matter anyway. So in recent times, there's been a trend towards constructed wetlands, offering a holistic and nature-centric approach to industrial wastewater treatment. Especially now with the wetlands, ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ buffer system ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, filter, nature's filter ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. So wetlands act as an excellent solution for industrial wastewater, because wetlands andre basic definition of wetland is simple: a land which is wet or land covered by, flooded by water or flooded. Land which is wet is wetland. Very simple definition. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮಗೆ ಕನ್ವೆನ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬಹುದು. ರಾಮ್ಸಾರ್ ಕನ್ವೆನ್ಷನ್, you might have heard. Ramsar convention, you'll be learning in the static part, conventions al kalitira. Speaks about or gives a definition. What is a wetland? How do we identify a wetland? So ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ನೀರಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು wetland ಅಂತ ಕರಿಬೋದಾ? So wetland has some features, right? So wetland is a common term where we use the land which is inundated with water, where it has some minimum depth of 3 meters, maximum depth of 6 meters. ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು wetland ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಇಷ್ಟು requirement ಇರಬೇಕು. We cannot call, say we can call a river, a lake or a marsh or a pond or anything as wetland, but which falls in this criteria. So we can differ the wetlands from the other ecosystems. So land which is wet and the bandaga ocean bandbidutte, but we need some, what do you call as specific requirement or definition. So minimum 3 meters, maximum 6 meters given by the Ramsar convention. That is what we follow globally now. So this shift comes from as a traditional method struggle to effectively tackle the diverse range of pollutants present. So wetland as a natural absorber, like a sponge it is. So when you place a sponge inside the water, it absorbs as much as possible all the water it can absorb. So wetland act like this. Before any pollutants, any wastewater reaches to the ocean, if there is a wetland, if there is a constructed wetland as well, it can reduce the problem of these wastewater pollutants getting inside the ocean or major rivers. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಮಗೆ wetlands very important, ecologically ತುಂಬಾ important. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು contents related ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. Ecologically ನೋಡಿದಾಗ it supports biodiversity, it supports livelihood, it supports various species inside the water, on land, fauna and flora, right? So economically, ecologically, culturally, very important. Wetlands are important. Let's have an idea about what are constructed wetlands. Constructed wetlands andre enu? This is an example of a constructed wetlands. You can see on the image. Kolkata's East Wetland anta karitivi, which is also a Ramsar site, internationally recognized. ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹಳ್ಳಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ನೋಡಿರ್ತೀರಾ. So every paddy field can be a wetland. That's an example of wetland. So anything is a wetland in itself, provided it falls under the definition and also recognized by the international or national level. Okay, so yes, constructed wetlands mimic natural wetlands using vegetation, soil and water to purify wastewater effectively. Yavaga ನಾವು wetland na constructed wetland anta karitivi, it mimics natural wetlands. Vegetation, soil ಮತ್ತು constructed ಅಂದ್ರೆ literally it is constructed. Okay, constructed ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಇರುವಂತ ಜಾಗವನ್ನೇ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನೀರ್ ಅಕ್ಯುಮುಲೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು we make sure that it is being conserved, it is being maintained. ಅದನ್ನ ನಾವು constructed wetlands ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ when compared to natural wetlands. So unlike traditional concrete tanks, even tanks comes under the concept of wetlands only. When we learn in static part, you'll be having a broader idea. As of now, we'll just focus on constructed wetlands now. They support biodiversity, hosting various forms of life, microorganisms, plants and birds, etc. It is like a place, a microbiome, or a place where microorganisms can thrive, birds and species, anything can thrive there. So ಎರಡು ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತ constructed wetlands ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. Two types. They are subsurface flow and surface flow. Two types of constructed wetlands. Okay. Subsurface flow uses gravel beds to promote microbial degradation of organic matter, while surface flow showcases on lush vegetation and flowing streams. Constructed wetlands ಎರಡು ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So gravel beds ಅಂದ್ರೆ we are talking about stones. ಕೆಳಗೆ pebbles. Okay, and upon that water will be inundated, water will be flown. ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲ್ ಆಗಿ ವೆಟ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆಗುವಂತ ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆ ಇದೆ ಆ ಜಾಗನ ನಾವು we don't touch it, we keep it intact. So it will be made on itself, and when it rains it will be filled, and we are not harming or we are not degrading for any other reason. Subsurface flow anta bandaga, we have land, on that we have pebbles, gravel bed, stones we are talking about, and we have water on that, and we have some vegetation where it enhances microbial degradation of organic matter. ಯಾಕೆ ಡಿಗ್ರೇಡೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ? ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ, ಇದೊಂದು ವೆಟ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್, ನಮ್ಗಿಂದ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಇಂದ ಬರುವಂತ ಎಲ್ಲ ಎಫ್ಲೂಯೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದು ಇದರೊಳಗೆ ಸೆಟಲ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೆಟಲ್ ಆದಾಗ ಮೈಕ್ರೋ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ದ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ ಟು ಡಿಗ್ರೇಡ್ ಇಟ್. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ನೀಡ್ಸ್ ಅ ಬೆಡ್, ಇಟ್ ನೀಡ್ಸ್ ಅ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ವೆರ್ ಇಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಥ್ರೈವ್. ಸೊ ಗ್ರಾವೆಲ್ ಬೆಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ವಿ ಆರ್ ಫೋಕಸಿಂಗ್ ಮೋರ್ ಆನ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಡಿಕಂಪೋಸಿಷನ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಇವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ವೆಟ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಸ್ ಅ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಸಿಂಕ್. ಇಟ್ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ಸ್ ಮೋರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ವೇ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಸಬ್ ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಫ್ಲೋ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಫ್ಲೋ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೇನ್ಲಿ ಫೋಕಸಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ಲಶ್ ವೆಜಿಟೇಷನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಫ್ಲೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೀಮ್ಸ್. ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಅನ್ ಏಸ್ಥೆಟಿಕ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ, ಲೈಕ್ ಅ ನೈಸ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೀಮ್, ನೈಸ್ ಪಾಂಡ್ ವಿತ್ ಆಲ್ ಗ್ರಾಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಕಾಲ್ ಎಸ್ ವೆಜಿಟೇಷನ್ ಗ್ರೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಅರೌಂಡ್. ಇಟ್ ಗಿವ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ ಅಪೀಲಿಂಗ್ ಲುಕ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಒಂದು ಪಾರ್ಕ್ ತರ ಜಾಗವನ್ನ ನಾವು ಮಾಡುವಂತದ್ದು, ಅದು ಸರ್ಫೇಸ್ ಫ್ಲೋ. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಫೋಕಸಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ ದ aesthetic value or the looks of the wetland. That also is equally important from the view perspective of tourism anta helbodu. Now both SSF and SF, that is both aim to convert pollutants into harmless compounds through natural process. ಎರಡು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ objectives ಇರಬಹುದು. ಒಂದು organic matter degradation, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು aesthetic value, the looks, appealing value ಕೊಡಬಹುದು. ಆದ್ರೆ ಎರಡಕ್ಕೂ ಪ್ರೈಮರಿ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಇದೆ. ಏನು ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ to convert pollutants into harmless compounds using bacteria. So ಏನೆಲ್ಲ pollutants ಹೋಗಿ ಓಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದ್ರ ಬದಲು ಅದನ್ನ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು. This is key highlights of constructed wetlands. So what are the benefits of this? How do we reap the benefits of constructed wetlands. Constructed wetlands require minimal energy and lower operation expenses, making them ideal for resource limited areas. You don't have to use concrete and build a wetland here. You just have to make sure that ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀರು ತುಂಬಿದಾಗ we have to make sure that it absorbs pollutants and just maintain it. So cost effective ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. Versatile, customizable for various industrial wastewater types. They can be surface or subsurface, tailored to specific needs. ಈಗ for example industries ಹಿಂದೆನೆ effluents ಎಲ್ಲ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. So you can go for to create its aesthetics. ಇನ್ನು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಕಾಣೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ we can make it like a small pond wherein we can grow flowers and trees and plants over there. It gives an appealing look. Meanwhile it is actually filtering the pollutants. hangu irbodu illa antandre subsurface system agi madabodu. Then environmental benefits, we know that if we are taking care of the pollutants, it is not that is the only thing. It will cater to the needs of the flora and fauna. Flood control will help madutte. Carbon sequestration, as I already told you, it absorbs excess carbon, acts as a carbon sink. Scalable and adaptable, flexible in size, suitable for centralized or decentralized treatment methods. They fit diverse industrial setups, especially used for industries anta helbodu. So it can be asked in mains, what is the need of constructed wetlands, how it can be a sustainable approach to treat pollutants anta question kelidre neevu you can explain what are wetlands, what are constructed wetlands, types of wetlands, benefits of constructed wetlands like any other wetland, and also can give some examples of this. Already in India we have certain areas, satyadalle esto jagadalli namiga constructed wetlands ide India dalli. Let us look into the examples. Asola Bhatti in Delhi, alle en madidare anta sanctuary, it's a wildlife sanctuary. They have a constructed wetland which purifies sewage and also biodiversity conservation help ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. Sewage water ಏನಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಿಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ but it is part of Delhi itself, the main place. So sewage water na purify ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ wetland ಮತ್ತು biodiversity conservation because it's a wildlife sanctuary. Perungudi and Kodungayur in Chennai, it is a decentralized wetland, treat local sewage ಮತ್ತು strain on central facility. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದನ್ನು ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಅಥವಾ ಸಿವೇಜ್ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ನ ಟ್ರೀಟ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಬದಲು ಒಂದು ವೆಟ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಕನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಲೋಕಲ್ ಸಿವೇಜ್ ನ ಟ್ರೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ದೇ ಎಂಡ್ ಅಪ್ ಇನ್ ದಿಸ್ ವೆಟ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ and it will be filtered off. Then Kolkata East wetland, what we saw in the picture, it is a Ramsar site, natural and constructed wetlands for wastewater treatment and livelihood support. Ille wastewater treatment ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Then we have Palla village in Haryana, Yamuna, especially river Yamuna ವಾಟರ್ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಮತ್ತು ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಮತ್ತು ಇಕೋಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ ಎರಡಿಗೂ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ಸ್ ನೀವು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು. as I told you, this is like kind of an exclusive mains topic. Prelims ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳೋ ಬದಲು ಮೇನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ you have to use these examples in your answers. Okay, yes, this is what we have for constructed wetlands. We will take a break for 5 minutes, then we will continue. We'll go to the next topic. Okay. Okay, we will move on to the next topic that is under environment itself. Carbon farming. This was recently seen in news on Hindu. So I think I have mentioned in the class also, when it comes to carbon as a prefix, anything carbon sequestration, carbon sinks. 2023 there was a question on carbon filters. So if I'm not wrong, biofilters. So yeah. So related to carbon, ಏನೇ ಒಂದು ಇದ್ರೂನು ಅಥವಾ bio ಅನ್ನೋ ವರ್ಡ್ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಇದ್ರೂನು, so you have to keep a check on it. And it is a trending term, and especially for a holistic way of for a sustainable future ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. So carbon, when it comes to it, we are focusing on climate change, tackling climate change, and there is a combination of two words here, carbon farming anta, right? So carbon sequestration is one side, farming is another side. And what does this exactly mean, right? So it is a combination of two aspects here. Let's look into it. When it comes to carbon, we know that every organic matter or every life form, non-life also, carbon is present. And even in a static part also, we learn something called as carbon cycle, right? So carbon dioxide is present in its inorganic form in the atmosphere, enters the living organisms. So carbon dioxide organically present in various life forms. In our body, we have it in carbohydrates, right? So it enters through plants and ends up in various level of organisms. And carbon is present, however, organic matter or dead or alive, we have it. So it is a continuous cycling process. How do we use it? How do we utilize it so that we can actually reduce the greenhouse gas emission, wherein carbon dioxide is one of the greenhouse gases? Okay, so carbon farming has recently emerged as a hopeful method for fostering sustainable agriculture. Carbon na ನಾವು ಈಗ agriculture ಜೊತೆ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ agriculture techniques ಇಂದ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಸೀಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಹೌಸ್ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ ನ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಚಾಲೆಂಜಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಗ್ಲೋಬಲ್ ಇನಿಷಿಯೇಟಿವ್ಸ್, ಆಲ್ ದಿಸ್ are there in this entire article. If you have not come across it yet, please go through the article. Illi ನಾವು certain points na discuss ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ನೀವು entire article ಓದಿದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, it can be from the mains perspective, you'll get a holistic idea about the topic itself. Now we will just detail it, I mean in brief. So carbon farming entails managing agriculture and forestry practices to enhance carbon sequestration. So ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಏನಿದ್ರದ್ದು, carbon farming ದು ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಏನು? Sequestration. What is sequestration? I think I've mentioned this. Capture and storage of atmospheric carbon dioxide. Carbon sequestration and carbon capture are the two important terms we use in carbon or as a greenhouse gas emission itself. Carbon capture antandre, we are just capturing the carbon which is emitted because of various activities. Sequestration andre capture ಮಾಡಿರುವಂತ carbon. For example, there is smoke. Something is burnt and that smoke or the residue has been collected. You have collected and kept. You have it. But what do you do with it next? You have to store it somewhere. So this concept of capturing and storing is called as carbon sequestration. So we can say carbon farming is directly related to, or it is leading to, carbon sequestration. That is the main idea here. ಯಾಕೆ ನಾವು ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ, sequestration ಮಾಡಿ, ಅಥವಾ ಇದೊಂದು ಮೆಥಡ್ ಆಫ್ sequestration ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, while minimizing greenhouse gas emissions. So ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಲ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ, ಗ್ರೀನ್ ಹೌಸ್ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ ಎಮಿಷನ್ಸ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. This is the main idea of it. So let's look it in detail with some key points. So how does it happen and what are the benefits? So climate mitigation. Carbon farming aims to mitigate climate change by enhancing carbon storage in soil and vegetation and reducing agricultural carbon footprint. ಈಗ ಫಾರ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಯಾಕೆ ಯುಟಿಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ, ಇದು ಯೂಶುವಲಿ ಎಲ್ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ನಾವು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫಾರ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ನ ಯಾಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, when you take up a kind of agricultural techniques wherein it is not emitting carbon, rather it is holding carbon ಅಂತ ಅಂದಾಗ, you are actually doing what? Carbon farming ನೀವು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀರಾ ಅಂತ. You are holding carbon, you are cultivating it. So in carbon farming ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ you are just growing plants, more plants. You are using sustainable approach in the sense not excessive use of fertilizers, chemicals or fertilizers. Rather you switch on to a concept called as regenerative farming ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Regenerative agriculture, which is a very important concept which has been asked in prelims. So regenerative farming ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Regenerative farming anta andre you might have heard of different farming techniques: natural farming, regenerative farming, organic farming alva. So idella trending words. Pratyondu farming techniques allo ಒಂದು focus irutte. Organic farming anta andre ಏನು? Basically what is organic farming? Not using chemicals or pesticides, synthetic pesticides, fertilizers. We are using everything that is organic. Natural farming is, known it is popularized by Subhash Palekar, right? You might have heard about this, a very important topic again, natural farming ಬಗ್ಗೆ. So ಈ ಸತ್ವ, ಬೀಜಾಮೃತ್ ಅಥವಾ ಈ ಸೀಡ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಗ್ರೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಮೆನ್ಯೂರ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲ್ ಮೆಥಡ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಫಾರ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಗುವಂತ ವಸ್ತುಗಳನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಫಾರ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು. Regenerative farming, on the other hand, combines these two: organic farming, natural farming. It is a holistic way. We are not doing this regenerative farming only for the commercial purpose to get better yield. Iga organic mattu natural enagutte better yield sigli, so ನಾವು ಆದಷ್ಟು natural methods use ಮಾಡೋಣ ಅಂತ. ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್. Regenerative farming ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, regenerating, we are not only focusing on how to get better yield, but also we are also focusing holistically how to recharge groundwater, parallelly taking up agriculture, how to prevent soil erosion while parallelly we are also getting better yield, or how to store carbon while parallelly again we are growing our crops. So holistic approach is called as regenerative farming. Okay, so carbon farming actually in a way focuses on regenerative farming. So atmospheric carbon dioxide buildup, these are some of the key points I've taken from the article. So rising atmospheric carbon dioxide levels drive climate change, highlighting the needs for practices that draw carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and store it. So it is like the way, the need, yake carbon farming beko, carbon dioxide level ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. So we need to capture it. We cannot stop all the industrial activities. Rather, we can try some other alternative to capture it. So carbon sequestration potential. Agricultural soils offer significant carbon sequestration potential, which can be enhanced through carbon farming practices. ಈ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಸೀಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ವೆಟ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಮ್ಯಾಂಗ್ರೋವ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಓಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಬಟ್ ವೈ ಫಾರ್ಮಿಂಗ್? ದಟ್ಸ್ ದ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್. ವೈ ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಫಾರ್ಮಿಂಗ್? ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, as third point suggests, agricultural soils offer significant carbon sequestration potential, because agricultural soil means when we take up agriculture, that soil will be having enough organic matter, enough fertility. That means more microbial degradation or more soil organisms mean more absorption of carbon. This happens, and more the soil can hold, because soil itself is carbon sink. So that is why we are connecting with agriculture here. Agricultural soils have more potential to hold carbon, or for the carbon sequestration itself. Soil degradation. Conventional farming practices contribute to soil degradation. Conventional ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಟ್ರೆಡಿಷನಲ್ ಆಗಿ ನಾವು ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಫಾರ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸಸ್. ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಫರ್ಟಿಲೈಸರ್ಸ್, ಪೆಸ್ಟಿಸೈಡ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಡಿಗ್ರೇಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Soil degrade ಆದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, when the soil gets degradation or it do not have any organic matter, it loses its carbon storage capacity. It can no longer hold carbon. If soil is dead there, then there is nothing. It is devoid of moisture and everything. Cannot hold carbon. Rather, carbon farming promotes healthy soil biology and organic matter content, increasing carbon capture. Carbon capture easy agi ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಯಾವಾಗ carbon farming ಈ ಮೆಥಡ್ ನ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ನಾವು agriculture. As I told you, regenerative practices. Carbon farming practices include compost application, improve soil health, and agricultural productivity while actively sequestrating atmospheric carbon dioxide. So main focus ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, having enough trees in the agricultural area, plant growth, equally focusing on soil's health, When soil is healthy, it can hold more carbon. Namge iruvanta natural sinks of carbon yavdu? Trees, forest, soil, ocean. Okay, ocean can hold up to 30% of carbon dioxide, not more than that. Carbon dioxide excess ಆದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಓಷನ್ ಅಸಿಡಿಫೈ ಆಗೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ಇನ್ನೂ ಡಿಸಾಸ್ಟರ್ ಆಗೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಹೋಲ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಅಷ್ಟು ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಅಷ್ಟು ಹೋಲ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಎಷ್ಟು ನಾವು ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಬೆಳೆಸ್ತೀವಿ ಅಷ್ಟು ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾವು ಯಾವ್ದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಮೇಲೆ, ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ಸಾಯಿಲ್ ಮೇಲೆ. ಸೊ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕ್ಸ್ in order to sequestrate carbon, and this combination is called as carbon farming. You understand, this is a trendy word now. You have to give importance to this. Now moving on, a tribe was in news recently, Paliyar tribe anta. I told you every week there will be one or the other tribes which are in news. So eventually we'll be learning one by one. By the time end of the year, when you revise, you will be having list of tribes. So any question asked on tribes, you have it on one side. So adikoskara idanna ottade. State government urged to take steps to uplift Paliyar other tribes. State government, we are talking about Tamil Nadu state government. When we speak of tribes here in Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, we are talking about the tribes of the Western Ghats. Tribes of Western Ghats, tribes of Northeast, usually asked. So in general, in detail agi, Paliyar tribes are in Western Ghats. Ishtu gottidre sir, or maybe Western Ghats rather than Kodaikanal, Ooty. So Kodaikanal ಮತ್ತು Theni areas ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ Tamil Nadu. So this recent study highlights that there are tribals named Paliyar. There is an urgent need for the state government to uplift not only the Paliyar tribe but also the other Adivasi communities. Many are there. ಅವ್ರನ್ನ uplift ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ. So let's know about who are these Paliyars and what are the key features. The term Paliyar originates from Palaniyan in Tamil, referring to individuals from Palani. Kodaikanal region, Palani temple, famous Palani temple. So illinda originate agide Paliyar. They are also known as Paliyans, Palayarites and Pannayars. So location in Madurai, Tanjavur, Pudikote, Tirunelveli, Coimbatore ಈ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ ಇವ್ರನ್ನ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ they are originally they are from these places. So they use Tamil language only and script also. Traditionally these are hunters and gatherers of the Western Ghats, in the Western Ghats forest. Worship rituals include offerings to Vanadevadai, that is Vanadevadai, we are talking about Vanadevate anta naven kannadada ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Reference to god Karuppan in remote forest areas. Their own deity in the forest area. So have their own deity. Burial customers, they traditionally bury their dead near residential areas, avoiding cremation. Cremate ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತ ಇರುವಂತ ಅವರ ಮನೆ ಸುತ್ತಾನೆ they take up this burial. ಆ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲೇನೆ ಬರಿಯಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಕೀ ಫೀಚರ್ಸ್. ಇಷ್ಟು ಡೆಪ್ತ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಅಟ್ ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಯಾವ ಟ್ರೈಬ್ ಯಾವ ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಯಾವ ಜಾಗದಿಂದ ಇದಾರೆ ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಒರಿಜಿನೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ರಿಗಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ Paliyar tribe. This which are recently seen in news. Now we speak of science and tech. MRI is a very common word, you might have heard. MRI anta ನಾವು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಲ್ಯಾಬ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ. This very procedure was in news, especially explained section ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾವೆ ಹಿಂದೂ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. It matters. Very common thing what we hear in our daily life. That is where the question comes. What is this MRI? MRI ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಇದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಐಡಿಯಾ ಇರಬೇಕು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ನಾವು ಕೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಯೂಶುವಲಿ ನಾವು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ MRI? ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ರೆಸೊನೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಮೇಜಿಂಗ್. In recent times, in today's time, why it is important and how it is different from other procedure. Okay, let's look into it as part of science and tech. So lately, magnetic resonance imaging has garnered attention as an essential non-invasive method for exploring the inner workings of the human body. MRI ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ internal imaging ಅಲ್ವಾ. So to reveal the image of the body part inside, so that would give a better understanding of the, or we can diagnose the condition of a patient. So MRI is a non-invasive diagnostic method used to visualize soft tissues in the body, inside the body. Diagnose ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. Soft tissues, non-invasive ಅಂದ್ರೆ you don't have to actually get inside using the instruments or something, just using the rays, just using the various methods, machine or apparatus. Soft tissue andre ಏನ್ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೇವೆ, ನಾನ್ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಸಿಫೈಡ್ ಟಿಶ್ಯೂಸ್ ವಿತ್ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಸಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಕಾಸಿಂಗ್ ಹಾರ್ಡನಿಂಗ್ ಡ್ಯೂ ಟು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಸಿಯಂ ಸಾಲ್ಟ್ ಅಕ್ಯುಮುಲೇಷನ್. ಸೊ ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ ಟಿಶ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ನಾನ್ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಸಿಫೈಡ್, ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಸಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಸಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಇಸ್ a long process that happens. Calcium antandaga we are talking about bones, right? We have calcium in our bones. So non calcified tissues with calcification causing hardening due to calcium salt accumulation. Soft tissue is actually without calcium, but calcification in the ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, excess calcification in the calcium salt accumulation ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Recently there was a study wherein calcification happens, it's a long process. Excess calcification ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, it leads to aging ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, excess calcification in the. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, because of various genetic issues or disorders, or maybe the lifestyle, or maybe various issues, there can be certain changes in the body, and it can be diagnosed using this method. So ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಇದನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಯಾವ್ದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಯಾವ ಬಾಡಿ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಅಂತ ಅಂದಾಗ, ಬ್ರೈನ್, ಕಾರ್ಡಿಯೋವ್ಯಾಸ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್, heart, spinal cord, joints, muscles, livers, and arteries. So we use MRI for that, right? Applications, we are just knowing the basic aspects of it. This is where the application is. So working of MRI, basic, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ನೀವು ತಗೊಬಹುದು, ಜನರಲ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಆಸ್ಡ್. MRI ವರ್ಸಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ರೇಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಎಕ್ಸ್ರೇ ಮುಂಚೆಲ್ಲ ಎಕ್ಸ್ರೇ ಇತ್ತು, ಎಕ್ಸ್ರೇ ತಗೊಳ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಈಗ MRI ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಏನ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, unlike x-rays, because the name itself suggests x-ray antandre ಒಂದು radiation ide anta, one of the electromagnetic spectrum we have x-rays, correct? So MRI scans use magnets and radio waves, avoiding radiation exposure. Radio waves use ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, radiation ಆಗುವಂತ chances ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. x-rays ಅಲ್ಲಿ there is more chance of radiation exposure, but MRI ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಲ್ಲ. That's the main difference one should know. Then who had this research breakthrough? That's just for your factual knowledge. Professors Paul C. Lauterbur and Peter Mansfield won in 2003 Nobel Prize for their MRI research breakthrough. So 2003 onwards, we have this usage of MRI more. Before that, we were focusing on the X-rays itself. Sometimes even before X-ray, right? What is happening inside the body, less likely to be known. Outside, definitely yes, but inside it was very difficult. So MRI comes as a blessing in the medical field, so that a doctor can, in the medical field, they can make a better diagnosis. So how does it work? Just for your understanding, that's all. Ishtu depth agogod beda gottirli anta. Hydrogen atom utilization. MRI harnesses hydrogen atoms in the scanned body area. MRI machine components include a superconducting magnet, radio frequency emitter, and a detector. A magnetic field application, the magnet creates a stable magnetic field aligning hydrogen atom spin axis. This I'm reading it for you. Ishtondu detail agi kelalla. Akasmat nim notes ige nimge points ig bekidre matra you can read it and just make a note of it. Only unmatched hydrogen atoms are excited by emitted pulses. Idu basically it works on magnetic or use magnets and radio waves. Enagutte antandre there is a matching and unmatching of the hydrogen atoms happen, wherein it focuses on a particular place for particular tissues inside the body. So basically magnetic field application rather than radiation anta helಬೋದು. ಅಷ್ಟು ಜ್ಞಾಪಕ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. The crux of it is mainly focuses on magnetic field application. So signal detection and image formation. Signals from excited atoms are detected and converted into images by computer. So signal detect ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, image form ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಮತ್ತು computer ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ. So computer processing generates detailed 2 or 3 dimensional images of the scanned body area, which are far better than X-rays. That is what you have to keep in mind. So in order to know better, technical points ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ you can go through ಅಥವಾ just pick up some key points from this article if you can access it. If you have read already on the newspapers, it will be great. Or else just focus on this again. Explained section linta bandaga, it can be very important, can be very relevant also. So I have put up an image for your understanding. When this notes is shared to you, you can go through this. Now CT scan antanu karitivi, MRI scan, CT scan anta. Computerized tomography, ಈ CT scan ಅನ್ನೋ abbreviation ಎಲ್ಲ state level exams ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, basic science ಅಲ್ಲಿ. What is CT scan? Computerized tomography ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. which is also called as CAT scan, ಅಂದ್ರೆ computerized axial tomography ಅಂತಾನು ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನು ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಇದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಬ್ರೈನ್, ನೆಕ್, ಚೆಸ್ಟ್, ಅಬ್ಡಮನ್, ಪೆಲ್ವಿಸ್, ಸೈನಸ್, ಸ್ಪೈನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. MRI ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಬಟ್ ದ ಮೆಕ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ ಇಸ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್. ಓಕೆ, CT ಸ್ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಎಕ್ಸ್ರೇ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. MRI ಸ್ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಆಸ್ ವಿ ಹವ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಸೀನ್, magnetic field, focus on magnetic field or using application of magnetic field. Then we have various other differences. I will leave it to you. You can read when you receive the notes, okay? Just to have an understanding. Then let's speak about international relations, India-Nepal relations, which was recently seen in news. So Nepal map on currency note to have Indian areas. I have shared it. Please remind to the management, your mentor, okay? I have shared the last class notes up until last week. Please look into it. Okay, this also I'll be sharing. If it is not shared, please remind your mentors. Yes. So Nepal, is it so? Okay, I'll just remind them. You also can talk to them. Okay. So now, speaking of Nepal, India-Nepal relations, the most popular name when we speak of Indo-Nepal anta bandaga Kalapani territory anta ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Kalapani was in news. At least from 2020 it is in news. ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ ಈಗ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, Nepal map on currency note to have Indian areas. ಕರೆನ್ಸಿ ನೋಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೇಪಾಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾಪ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಅದು ಇಂಡಿಯಾದು ಏರಿಯಾನು ತೋರಿಸಿ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ನೇಪಾಲ್ ಅಂತ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ನೌ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ ಅ ಕಾಂಟ್ರವರ್ಸಿ. ಸೊ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಡಿನೈಸ್ ಇಟ್. So India says it belongs to India, Nepal says it belongs to Nepal. So there's a whole lot of controversy when it comes to Kalapani territory and the Karitiv. Kalapani territory dispute is between India and Nepal. It is a dispute. So 4 years after strained relations, it's been 4 years now, as I told you, from 2020 it has started with India over territorial disputes. It plans to issue a new ₹100 currency note featuring areas under Indian control. Nepal issue ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. The decision announced by Nepal's government spokesperson Rekha Sharma follows a cabinet meeting chaired by Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal Prachanda. Prachanda is given in quotes anyway. So Pushpa Kamal Dahal Prachanda is the person who is part of, as of now, is the Prime Minister. But even before him also, the Prime Minister before him also did speak about Kalapani, saying that Kalapani territory belongs to Nepal. And India denies this. So there is a strained relation between India and Nepal that has been happening from past 4 years. So controversy remains same here. Controversy, let it be here. Let's go for mapping. Mapping and the historical perspectives, what we have to look into. Historically, ನಾವು ಯಾವ್ದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ focus ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ. So ಈ tri-junction dispute, let's look into the area what they are talking about. See, this is the river Kali. Is the main river here talking about North India. South India is the Kali river. Illi now North India Kali river ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ. So there was a treaty that happened between India and Nepal in Anglo-Nepalese war. India and Nepal in the sense British India we are talking about, wherein there was a treaty made in this region belongs to India Nepal ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಅಥವಾ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಮತ್ತು ನೇಪಾಲ್ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಯುದ್ಧ ಆದಾಗ Anglo-Nepalese war ನಡೆದಾಗ a treaty was made, if anybody can tell me, a treaty was made between this wherein the territories were divided. So river Kali river, where it originates and how it flows, you can see the Indian border here, and Mechi river also, 2 rivers which are part of it. Now how it looks like, now Kalapani territory is this one, okay? China on the other side, Nepal here, India. Kali river flows here. Kali river flows from here, and this is India's territory. Origin is claimed by Nepal, saying that this is in Nepal. So Nepal is here, India, and this is the region. This is the Kalapani territory we are talking about. So dispute over origin of river. So Nepal says the origin of the river starts from Nepal. So the region belongs to Nepal, and India denies this because it dates back to the treaty that was made between British India and Nepal. This is the tri-junction dispute anta ನಾವು ಕರೀತೀವಿ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ it is located in this region. Now let's look into the key points into it. So treaty resulted from 2-year war between Nepal's Gorkha Kingdom and British East India Company. ಟ್ರೈಜಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಯೂಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಟ್ರೀಟಿ ಆಫ್ ಸಿಗೋಲಿ ಆರ್ ಸಿಗೋಲಿ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ನಾವು. I think we have it here. In 1816, I'll be repeating again. 1816 ಅಲ್ಲಿ Anglo-Nepal War ನಡೆದಾಗ 1860 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ರೀಟಿ ಆಫ್ ಸಿಗೋಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ they divided the regions. So established Kali River as the western border and River Mechi as the eastern border. ಇದೆರಡು ಈ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ವೆಸ್ಟರ್ನ್ ಬಾರ್ಡರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಳಿ ರಿವರ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರಿವರ್ ಮೇಚಿ ರಿವರ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. The treaty defined the Kali River, also known as Mahakali, as the Nepal's western border. Nepal's western border ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಳಿ ರಿವರ್ ಬರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ ನಾವು, this part of is India. So areas to the east of the Kali River fell under Nepal's jurisdiction. Now the river is here. This becomes Nepal's territory, this becomes Indian territory. Okay, this was decided. East is Nepal's and west is India's or British by then. Adu 1816 decide ಆಯ್ತು. Disputes over the river's source sparked boundary disagreements between India and Nepal, each presenting maps to support their respective claims. ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ರಿವರ್ ಒರಿಜಿನೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್. ರಿವರ್ ಒರಿಜಿನೇಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ನೇಪಾಳಿಗೆ ಸೇರಿದೆ ಅಂತ ನೇಪಾಳ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ treaty that was made long back, and as per the treaty, east of Kali rivers, west of Kali river is in India, especially in the northern India, the Uttar Pradesh region, so it belongs here. That is what the tri-junction dispute all about. So Treaty of Sigoli of 1816 speaks about this only. Remember the region, Kalapani territory elli barutte anta. So this is a map you have to look into. As of now, just glance over it, later you can see. ಸೊ ಯಾಕೆ ಈ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ನ ನಾವು ಕಲಿತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಯೂಟ್ ಇದ್ದಾಗ, ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಯೂಟ್ ಇದ್ದಾಗ, ದೇ ವುಡ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ದಿಸ್ ರೀಜನ್ ರೆಫರ್ಸ್ ಟು ವಿಚ್ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ಆರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಯೂಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ವಿಚ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ. ಈಗ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ನೊಗೋರ್ನೋ ಕಾರಬಾಗ್, ರೈಟ್, ಆರ್ಮೇನಿಯಾ, it's between Armenia and Azerbaijan. So like this. So there will be two countries involved here. There will be one particular place given in match the pairs. So you have to learn like that. Okay. So when we speak of mapping here, let's look in Caucasian countries, we can say that region, right? So ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು disputed area ಅಂತ ಬಂದಾಗ you should be knowing which are the two countries under dispute. So Kalapani Limpiadura Lipulake tri-junction ಅಂತ ಕರೀತೀವಿ. Kalapani Limpiadura Lipulake tri-junction is a 35 square kilometer area surrounded in northwest Nepal near meeting point of India, Nepal and China. This is where we have Kalapani, part of India's Pithoragarh, sorry, I said Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand. Pithoragarh district in Uttarakhand lies within this region and serves as a strategic observation post due to its elevation. So it has a better elevation. As it is located in the tri-junction area, you note India, Nepal and China. India uses it as a strategic observation post, as a defense. The Kali River forms the boundary between India and Nepal in the Kalapani area. Ade boundary. India ಮತ್ತು ನೇಪಾಲ್ಗೆ boundary ಏನು ಈ river. Okay, that boundary is called as Kalapani ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ನಾವು, ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಮತ್ತು ನೇಪಾಲ್ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಇರುವಂತದ್ದು. Again, I'm repeating, the Treaty of Sigoli signed in 1816 after the Anglo-Nepalese War designated the Kali River as Nepal's western boundary. ಆ ಕಡೆದು Nepal, ಈ ಕಡೆದು India. So disagreements over the Kali River source led to boundary disputes between India and Nepal, each country presenting maps supporting its claim. I'm just repeating the same, same point it is repeated here. But mapping anta bandaga adu elli locate agide anta tilkodi. And the news is very simple. Nepal government wants to introduce the currency note which has a map which includes Kalapani. That has become a dispute. Here we can focus on mapping, maybe the river or the place over here. The idea, maybe they would ask related to something else. As of now, just to know. Okay. Yes. So defense. When we speak of defense as the next topic, smart system. This is a quite old news I could have done in the last class, but still I'm taking it up. Recently, DRDO achieved a successful flight test of the supersonic missile assisted release of torpedo system of that is the abbreviation of SMART, supersonic missile assisted release of torpedo system off the coast of Odisha at Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Island. ಮುಂಚೆ ಅದನ್ನ ವೀಲರ್ ಐಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಿದ್ರು, ಈಗ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ APJ Abdul Kalam Island ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಒಡಿಶಾ ಇಂದ ಲಾಂಚ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. aims to significantly enhance the India's Navy's anti-submarine warfare capabilities. Mean a smart system is launched by DRDO. Every missile related it is DRDO. Hope you know it. Satellites would be ISRO. Yenella satellites related news irutte ISRO ge sambandhapattiದ್ದು. Missiles defense anta bandaga DRDO. Okay, Defense Research and Development Organization. And the smart system is under Navy, India's Navy, anti-submarine warfare capabilities, like submarines. Enemy submarine is entering the region, then they use this missile to counter that submarine. So anti-submarine warfare capabilities to detect the submarine of the enemy and to destroy it. Missile is launched from the ground mobile launcher, canister-based system with advanced subsystems. So technical words will not be asked, but idondu missile agide, supersonic missile agide. Then Indian Navy launch madide to counter the submarine, or it has an anti-submarine qualities anta helbodu. So some of the detailed aspect of it, it represents the next generation missile-based lightweight torpedo delivery system, which is advanced. Features a two-stage solid propulsion system, electromechanical actuator system, and precision inertial navigation. Then I'm just reading for the sake of it. Nowhere it will be asked this technical way, but I don't want to leave it out also. You can just go through it, just to have an awareness of the words. If you have time, you can go through it if you really want to know. So when in proximity to a submerged submarine, the missile ejects the torpedo system. And one day launch model Navy it should be launched from the land to attack the submarine. Torpedo autonomously moves towards its target and neutralize the submarine. Neutralize madutte. So torpedo, cigar-shaped underwater weapon propelled by its power. And the torpedo it is a weapon again. Torpedo itself is a weapon. It is an underwater weapon. It has a cigar shape propelled by its power. So this smart system is launchable from submarine, surface vessels, and aircraft. Torpedo ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ. And Varunastra is the key fact here. Varunastra is the India's first indigenous heavyweight ship-launched anti-submarine electric torpedo. ಈಗ ಸ್ಮಾರ್ಟ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ ಒನ್. ಇದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ನೇವಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ವರುಣಾಸ್ತ್ರ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಟಾರ್ಪಿಡೋ ಇದೆ. ಟಾರ್ಪಿಡೋ ಅಂದ್ರೆ as I told you is a missile. It's a heavyweight ship launch. Ship ಇಂದ ಲಾಂಚ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತದ್ದು ಸಬ್ಮರೀನ್ ನ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಎನಿಮಿ ಸಬ್ಮರೀನ್ ನ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. This is what we have under this Varunastra. Okay, so yes, as of now for today, this is what we have. This is the last topic, I believe. Yes, smart system. Regarding missiles, one question ಕೇಳಬಹುದು, ಮಿಸೈಲ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಸ್ಯಾಟಲೈಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಎವ್ರಿ ವೀಕ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಒನ್ ಆರ್ ದಿ ಅದರ್. ತುಂಬಾ ಇನ್ ಡೆಪ್ತ್ ಆಗಿ ಮಿಸೈಲ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗೋ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ನೋ ಅದು ನೇವಿ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತಾ, ಮಿಲಿಟರಿನ, ಅಥವಾ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಆರ್ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಟ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಂಟಿ ಸಬ್ಮರೀನ್, ಅಷ್ಟು ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಫಾರ್ ಟುಡೇ. ಓಕೆ, hope you followed the topics, hope you understood, you got some idea about it. We pick topics from various areas wherein you get some idea. Eventually when you add with your, or when you learn with your static topics, all makes sense. Okay, but make sure you read your newspapers every day. This is not it is much more than this. More topics are there. The combination of current affairs and static, as you all know, and in classrooms also you'll be learning more. Okay, so yes, so today we will wind this session. We'll meet in the next class. If any questions you have, you can ask, and I'll be sharing these notes so you can find in your app. Okay, if you have no queries, we can wind for today. Okay, thank you so much. Take care. We'll see you in the next class.